Yo, hello everybody. You didn't ask for it, but you get it anyways. This is an Afam guide to Queen Ansurek on Heroic. At the time of this recording, about 60 guilds have killed this boss. There is currently no good raid guide out there, so what I'm gonna do is we have the POV of Ready Check Pull YouTube kill video, and we're gonna look at what they're doing, their positioning, and we're gonna swap back and forth to the dungeon journal, fully understanding all the mechanics, what they do, why we move in a certain way. So that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be unedited, so expect a bit of a longer video. Once we're done with all the abilities and understandings on each phase, we'll play through the whole kill video in one go, basically calling out the shot calls in real time. And I think that's the best way to understand this boss. Alright, starting off, what we're gonna see is the boss pull location is somewhat in the middle of these small platforms. Ranged are gonna be positioned somewhat on the inner circle, so to say, on these lines, whereas melee are gonna be on the outer edges. We can see that swirlies happen on random people's location, so same as a normal, we're gonna pull the boss around in a circular pattern. Next up, casting toxins, already important. My belief is that this will go on one ranged, one melee, as we see in the video, with the exception that this guy, Seth, is actually an either augment or a dev evoker. So my guess is that evokers are counting towards the melee camp, so evokers play in melee, and ranged we are here. These toxins will be placed close to boss. We can see that we dodge lines, obviously, and both of them are placed. Now, already important, how does this actually work? So we're gonna use the jump that it generates to go over the line that she casts with Venom Nova. One guy will walk into this blob as the cast finishes, that will leap us over. And important to know, if you look at where this guy runs in, it was actually the hunter from the video it is. He runs in from the right, but we still get leaped over towards the boss. So it actually doesn't matter at all where you run into this blob, and it also doesn't matter where you stand inside the circle. You will always get leaped over to the boss. So really important to know, if you're not the assigned person to run in, just get somewhere in the ring, it doesn't matter where, and actually just wait. We can see that these guys that run in get this big green circle. They move out into the location almost where they placed the previous jump circle. And basically no one can get hit by this circle, as it's obvious. As well as these previous jump circles are gonna explode and shoot out blobs that needs to be dodged. So if we go back once again, the circles, you can also see they're always placed close to previous shit on the ground, as will be the general theme of baiting and stuff. So jumping over, and the guy who ran in go back into these locations, back on the edge for melees, back ranged for this range guy, and dodging swirlies. Dodging these blobs, I mean. New swirlies have been baited, we're gonna move the boss. And we get casting roots. As you can imagine, this circle will deal damage, so we are spread by the root itself. Figure out what can break your root, what abilities you have to break it. There's gonna be another overlap where there's two roots back to back. But if you can break it, you stay away, melees as well. If you can't, you stay close to the boss, and we break him out with AoE damage. We can also see that these leave swirlies on the ground, which basically deal damage. Let's look at some of the Dungeon Journal heroic abilities, just to make sure that we covered everything. So the jump circle toxin basically has an ability that TLDR is that the more player are soaking, the less damage it deals. So that's also why we just spread into one range camp, one melee camp, and have both circles with 50% of the rate. The root has the heroic ability with the leaving puddle on the ground that deals damage, so we just move out of those. Those are these gray swirlies. And then there's also a tank mechanic that I won't cover, but basically he gets hit harder, the rate gets hit harder, there's more healing absorb, I believe, on the tank. Alright, let's have a look at the rest of this phase 1. Again, boss is somewhat close to previous shit. We're gonna position these jump circles close to boss, close to previous stuff. We are getting ready to move into the circle, and one guy will move into the blob. Also, actually I didn't cover it, but I'm also not 100% sure. Yeah, because I don't know, I will cover it on our actual pull. Since the hunter is not moving in, I believe it might be a debuff of running into the blob, so we might have to just assign different people to actually activate this. Jumping over, those guys move out again with the circles. We dodge the blobs. Swirlies get baited, ideally somewhat behind the boss. Don't be this guy that moves all the way in front. If there's a swirly here, that's bad. So we stay close, ideally behind. And moving the boss along. Here will be the route back to back. So we can see the first route was at 1 minute combat timer. This one is at 150-ish for the break. So figure out if you can break it or not. You can see dodge lines, and I believe there's going to be a route right now as well. So this route is only like 10 seconds, 15 seconds after the other route. So figure out if and how you can break it. Ideally, your class has 2 stuff to break. This guy will feign death, breaks it again. If you can't break it, close the boss as always. Now, the third jumping circle, casting toxins, is not placed one in melee, one in ranged. Instead, we place them both at the edge of the room. This has a purpose of the boss moving into the middle afterwards, so we're gonna see it in a sec. After dodging lines, we just need to make sure that this circle above is for the melees and this will be for ranged. Moving in, having a third guy explode. Jumping over, these explosion circles also stay somewhat at the edge-ish. We dodge the blobs, and now you can see the boss is in the middle. If we had the range circle instead over here, it would be in the way of everybody. These blobs would be in a bad location as well. So that's why the third one is at the edge. And intermission is starting at 2 minutes 30 if you wondered. There's a chance that 2 minutes these should be hold for this shield. I'm not entirely sure that's what we're gonna see on actual proc. Now we get the same sort of circles. These circles basically deal AoE damage. We can see that here. It deals 170k every 1.5 seconds within 2 yards. So we are spread out because we get pulled in. Obviously this will result in overlaps. So the ideal spread out is not only close and far, it's also left and right as much as possible. Obviously it makes it hard when we dodge these blobs. So ideally some people will go right side early and the others will be left side still. And if you have stuff for like disengage and so on, use them for as soon as possible to spread. We can see it chunks health quite a lot. Alright, once the shield is broken, there's stage 2 beginning. This is where we're splitting the raid in 2 groups. We can see a pre-placed gate from the middle towards green. We'll have that marked as well. So one group is north, one group is south, and those are two different ads. So what we see here is the ascendant void something, void shifter, void shaper. We do have that right here. Ascendant void speaker it is. This guy has an interruptible cast. But more importantly, he will do rate damage to the whole group every 3 seconds. And he's gonna spawn gloom orbs periodically, who will shoot out a bunch of orbs that deal quite a lot of damage, 4 million damage. Imagine we have 5-6 million health. This is what it's gonna look like. I do believe it's gonna spawn on a specific player. So it's spawning on this guy. The circle itself will deal damage. 4 million in 3 yards. So this player needs to be aware to actually move out. And then as well dodging the orbs that follow. And we can see that happen periodically, as well as the cast on the ad that just needs to be kicked. Once the mob dies, it leaves the blob that we use to get knocked over. Now, at the other side of the map, there's a different ad. I don't have the video, but we do have the journal. So, this will be the devoted worshipper. He will send out a magic debuff on several players that deal 400k every 1.5 seconds, so quite a lot. It's double the damage of this for 12 seconds. More importantly, when it gets removed, which is by dispelling it, most obviously, but also when it runs out, it will deal 2.6 million rate damage to the whole rate, even to the other side, I believe. So the idea is that the rate is healthy. We do one of the dispels early. This will take us to about 60% HP with the dispel. Heal back up, dispel again, heal back up, dispel again, and so on. So that we delay the dispels, get the rate healthy before each dispel. We can also see that I do believe that these guys just made a dispel order for each healer to dispel, and it's their responsibility to look at the rate health and dispel once it's a good timing. Alright, moving on to phase 2. We get sent over. There's 2 set of ads. One guy that shoots out the lines. And one guy that I'm actually not quite sure what his name is. We have the Expeller and the Guardian, I believe. Chamber Guardian. So what we see, this is Team South. Mobs are staying stacked at the beginning. One is teleporting, and these guys actually stay away because of the pull-in. We can see that for the pull-in we need to be quite far at the edge in order to not get knocked off. After the pull-in, the boss, the Guardian boss, will be dragged on top of the other one, and they are getting cleaved. Now here we also see pull-in number 2. This is for the other side. Since I don't have a video recording, I can only guess that what they want to do is they stack the bosses on top of each other early. And as soon as the pull-in happens, they just all drag the boss away again and go for the pull-in. In terms of mechanics from these guys, we can see the line, we can see some swirlies, and I do believe that's also it. Looks like this is the same as on normal. And let me have a quick check. So if the Chamber Guardian, I don't think this is called Chamber Expeller. Oh, it is actually. So we have the beams and something. One sec. I didn't read this. I don't fully get it. As far as I read this, they cannot be close together, but at the same time they are in the video. So maybe I misunderstand something. At the moment that's not important. What we can see is that that apparently we can stack them up for cleave damage. Anyways, this pulling gets interrupted by clicking these things to get up the bridge. And we have the small ads. Small ads have a change on heroic. That is that they stack a debuff that increase damage taken for tanks. That means they just need to be killed rather efficiently, and tanks need to watch their health when dealing with them. Alright, we have a devoted worshipper that has a shield. Needs to be broken out. With the pulling, as in phase 1 and intermission, we need to be spread with the circles. And let me have a quick look at devoted worshippers. Alright, so these guys with the shield are actually the same ones with the dispel. I forgot about this. So here will be the same thing. Which is just one dispel early. We don't want all of them to time out, of course. So we have specific dispel timers. Mostly in charge will be the healers on the platform. Ideally, we call out the dispel as well in like 3-to-1 fashion, which means if you're 2 seconds before the dispel, if you're not healthy enough, that is a good point for personals. So again, first platform are the 2 ads that maybe cannot be stacked together, but basically shooting out lines. Second platform will be the guy that has the magic debuffs that needs to be dispelled. So moving up, killing these small guys, the tank stays healthy enough. And we do get a Void Speaker. This is the same guy that we saw downstairs in the intermission. He will shoot these glooms on a specific player. So ideally, when we come up these bridges, we spread out instantly and we are aware of the first spawn right here. We can see that they do quite a lot of damage. We have the personal health here 100% and he goes down to 20 or something. So being aware of these while interrupting the cast. And we use the orb for the knockback to the main platform, starting phase 3. I could imagine, by the way, I'm not entirely sure, that the other side of the platform is alternated, that they get the Dispel guy on the third one, and they might get this Gloom Void Speaker on the second platform. Not entirely sure about that. So going into P3, boss starts with doing nothing for a couple seconds. We can see the other group is opposite of us and we meet in the middle. We've also seen that Bloodlust is being used on pull. Alright, starting off with boss coming down. Obviously, most likely don't be in the circle where he lands. We can see Infest being casted as well as Gorge. Alright, so a lot of things are important right here. One tank gets the big circle. The other tank gets a big tank hit that needs to be mitigated. Most importantly for range camp, we are baiting swirlies at the edge of this platform. We can see that being done. And we can see AoE stuff being set up on these small ads. We can also see that every single person is actually swapping to them, so no single target freak staying on boss. Actually high priority, not having them damage anything, use AoE stuns and so on all of these. Then Royal Condemnation going down on 2 players. This will have a new heroic ability. They are placed a bit in front of the boss but close. They spawn a web guy, let's call it, that pull players in. If you get pulled in too close, they will basically stun you as long as it's alive, and you get broken out once these guys are dead. So rather simple, stay away, focus them, kill them early. It's called Royal Shackles. Let's look at the Dungeon Journal for that. Stage 3, those are the portals. We don't have that yet. We don't have this yet. We did see this now. Royal Condemnation, those are the 2 webs that just being placed. It deals damage reduced by distance, so that's one reason why they go a bit in front of the boss while all the raid is either in melee camp or behind. The shackles itself slow and deal damage until they are dead. It increases over time, so it's important that they die fast. And when we get in touch, we become cocooned, which is broken out once it's being destroyed. So, just to say it once again, if we actually go back a bit, let's look at the tooltips for these as well. We have Infest, which is a tank mechanic, which spawn all the ads, and the ads also spawn swirlies, that's why we bait them. Tank mechanic itself is something that they have to look out for themselves, have personals for them. They get big damage onto themselves and shooting out swirlies onto us as well. So again, we bait swirlies even while killing them, I do believe. We'll have a look if there's more swirlies to spawn. It's not actually. Condemnation, get in front of the boss. Deals quite some raid damage and being nuked down while not being directly in their melee range, so don't get cocooned. Not entirely sure what melees do, but I could imagine that they need to figure out on which one they are linked to and then attack the other one. So that this Demon Hunter, for example, that we see right here, maybe we can spot him again. This guy is linked to the left cocoon, but instead of attacking this, because he can't get in melee range, he just attacks the other one. And I do believe that's what melees are just doing generally. Attack the other one that you're not linked to. Alright. Maybe the last mechanic in this phase are the 2 portals being placed. We can see one is placed close, one is placed on the edge. They shoot out the gloom orbs that we've known from intermission and phase 2. And we use the inner portal to get to the edge. Let's look at the Dungeon Journal before we go in depth on what to do there. So, we have the ring that deals a lot of damage if you get hit by it, which we won't. We also see that the ring itself deals damage when being placed. So, when placing them, they are close to the boss, but no one gets hit by the ring itself. We can see fragments shooting out once they are being placed. So we are ready to dodge them. They deal almost 4 million damage. And just one more thing, what happens after we've used it. So again, we see the boss being teleported to the middle. He will pull us in. I do believe once you fall off the edge, you actually get consumed by him. Yeah, can't see it right now, but that's what's happening. When are we using the portal? As soon as this blue shimmer that we see here, it's a bit hard to see. I guess it's the actual dark blue. As soon as this has passed the portal, I do believe we can take it. But basically before this hits the inner portal. It is best though that we take it as early as possible, because there is a spread mechanic right here. Everybody gets a circle, needs to spread out. As well as the portal itself has a circle that we can't stand in it, so these guys will actually have to move. Can be done after the spread, which is good to know. This might only be for the first portal though, actually. I think the circle overlaps with the spread on the second. Excuse me. So, we take the portal. We ideally have a roar. We spread out. And that is it. Dodging the glooms once again, and they leave a puddle. Boss has been being pulled forward quite a lot. I'm not entirely sure about the reason for that yet. I can also see a Warlock gate. I didn't see that in my previous watch, so I'm not entirely sure what it's being used for. Maybe I'll check that later. I do believe those have been all the abilities though. So we see Gorge Infest happening, big tank damage, as well as the Edsa spawning, as well as baiting the swirlies. A range we don't want to stand on top of the boss, we want to stand at the edges. Baiting swirlies, killing Eds efficiently. The Royal Mechanic Condemnation has come out. These guys move a bit in front of the boss, cause it has fall of damage, remember that. Melees attack the one that is not linked to yours, and we focus on killing them. Queen Summons, last mechanic that we haven't seen yet, are basically Eds. Those are summoned acolytes. They have a shield. Once the shield is broken, I do believe we can kick these casts, so big focus on them. And one thing I've seen in the dungeon journal, which took me a while to figure out, is Throbbing Gluttony. So this is the ring that we dodge via the portals. Oh yeah, here it is. She consumes herself within 20 yards. So I do believe that's once you step off the edge. She also consumes living summoned acolytes upon casting these abilities, which is the name of these spiders. So I guess that just means if they live too long, if they don't die before she does the ring, then she will consume it, basically giving her an enrage. You can see damage done by 100%. This effect happens if Throbbing Gluttony, which is the ring, touches this one, which is the Ed, I do believe. But according to the video, they die rather fast, even before the portal's being placed, so plenty of time to do that. The second portals we've seen are placed behind the boss. We'll go back to see if the first ones are being placed like that as well. They actually are somewhat close to boss, just so that we don't have to run that far. Dodging glooms, and we are already close to the main portal. Moving forward again to the second portals. Thing being placed, we dodge the glooms that shoot out. She does Throbbing Gluttony, which is the ring. We stay on the inside. We take it as soon as the dark blue has passed the portal. And we are spreading out. And we can see that the second one, the ring, actually happens way earlier. So we actually do need to be spread out before... yeah. So, back to first portal, we see we have plenty of time to spread out. That's why we can take it also a second later, just to be safe. We see here spreading out. We can be inside the teleport circle. Wait for the spread, then move out and dodge it. Whereas for the second one, it happens way earlier. Which is why we need to be aware of the dark blue line. Take it early, run out immediately with a roar. Being far enough for the explosion, as well as being ready to dodge the glooms. Now we see here at that DK, I'm not entirely sure what happened to him. There's two options. Either he couldn't take the teleport in the first place because of some sort of ability, which I'm not sure of. Or he stood too long in one place after taking it, basically teleporting back, and then not being able to to come back. So one of the two. Maybe we can figure it out what it is, but apparently he just couldn't take the portal. Could be AMS, possibly, that you can't take it with that. I'm not sure. Alright. Let's see if there's one more ability before the kill. Every time this happens, we know big tank damage, big raid damage, the tank is spawning the ads, and most importantly, we spawn the swirlies. So be away. Ideally, we are here at the edges, not in the middle of the room. Okay, full boss, full understanding of what's happening, why it's happening. We've looked at all the changes for Dungeon Journal. So hopefully you're happy with that. If you are, you can close out the video. I want everybody to know what's happening. This boss is pretty difficult as of now, so if we can kill it this week, that would be insane. I will play the video once more from start to end of this pull. Basically trying to call out what I would call out in the moment, giving you a feeling of what's happening. Ideally, while you watch it, you will already know what's gonna happen, where you need to pre-position, all that good stuff. So, thanks for watching already, and we'll go through the whole video. Imagine it was ours. Baiting swirlies. Place the jump close to boss. Dodging lines is fairly obvious, they won't need a call out. Get in the circles. The jumpers have been pre-assigned. We use it at the end of the cast. Jumpers get out. And dodge waves. Be ready for roots. That means getting close if you can't break yourself. And place them close to existing shit always. We're dodging lines. Get in the circles. Jumpers be ready. At the end of the cast. Go. Jumpers out. Baiting, dodging waves and baiting swirlies, so be close. Be ready for root back to back. We're dodging lines, and then be ready for roots again. Keep them close. The next set of jumpers are gonna be at the edge of the room, both of them. Range camp is on ping. Dodge lines and then get in. Get in, jumpers ready at the end of the cast. Go. Jumpers stay at the edge. Boss is TPing to middle. Dodge waves. Try and stay spread with the circles. Stay nicely spread out left and right, as well as close and far. And we're dodging waves from the boss. Time it well with the pull-in to not get pulled through a blob. I do believe that's a thing. Also, most likely before that happens, we watch our health and possibly use personals for that pull. Get to your sides. For south there's a gate. That north side is ready for dispels. South side is ready for the glooms. Dodging glooms. And watch your HP for each dispel. We're getting knocked to the sides. Here I can mainly only call for one side, but ideally we know that one group can probably stack them first, whereas this group they stay spread. And just stay spread for the pull-ins. MD the tanks, the small adds onto the tanks. And tanks watch their health. They stack up a debuff. Healers be ready for dispels. Stay spread for pull. There's a chance that the other side that we don't see on the video has the gloom instead. We MD the tanks. Ready to dodge glooms, or orbs. Interrupt cast and dodge orbs. Always have an eye on these. Ready for knockback. Pumping boss and we meet in the middle. Stay stacked for healing. This will deal AoE damage. Once we healed up, ranged bait swirlies. Or we can pre-position to bait swirlies. Tank mechanic, baiting swirlies. Watch feet. AoE adds. Webs go in front of boss. Attack the correct web, the one you're not linked to. Portal placement behind boss, one close, one far. Don't be in the circle. Dodge orbs. Stay close. Go in, spread. Here you need to know yourself if you can stay in the circle or not. I won't call this. Dodging lines, dodging orbs from the portal. Ranged bait swirlies at the edge of the room. Watch feet, ready for adds. Webs in front of boss. Attack your web. We kill adds. Interrupt as soon as the shield is broken. Watch feet. Ready portal placement. Just behind boss where ranged are. Oh, close to boss in general. Dodging orbs. This is the one where we need to spread instantly. Swag roars. Go in, spread instantly. Dodging orbs. Dodge lines. Ranged bait swirlies. Ready for tank mechanic. Watch feet for swirlies. CC adds, we kill boss. Alright, that's about it. What the callouts are gonna be like for the boss. And that being said, thanks very much for listening. And I see you guys tomorrow or whenever you watch this video. Peace.